Hi everybody, welcome to Convertible Conversations. Another windy day in Kansas. You know, there's a saying here, and probably other places too, but there's certainly a saying in Kansas that if you don't like the weather today, stick around, it's going to change. It will, but it's pretty much always going to be windy. And it's going to change more than just the weather in a few days, a couple of weeks, because our election's going to be over. Have you ever thought about what will happen if the candidate whom you want to win the election loses? You know, all through the history of mankind, there have been leaders who some of the citizens like and some don't, some approve of, some adore, some abhor, and some detest, and sometimes that's the same leader. There have always been people that obviously aren't happy with the leaders and don't like what happens when the other person wins. Well, you know, God wants us to know something about this whole election deal. Whether our candidate wins or loses, he's still in charge. He's still God. He's still working out all things for the good for everybody. He's still all about restoring and reconciling all things. God's not sitting up in heaven wringing his hands, fretting about what's going to happen to our country or any country before or after any election. He loves us all, no matter who wins and who loses. Jesus' finished work at the cross is still finished for you and me and everyone in both parties. Yeah, whoever wins, our country's going to have some changes. We may have more or less personal liberty. Things that we hold dear may or may not be championed. The laws that we believe are best may not prevail. Our perceived quality of life may certainly change. But here's the quality of life that's important to God, and I would argue, therefore, should be most important to us. It's how God's children, all of us, relate to each other. No matter who wins, no matter what type of government we have, no matter what the civil laws are or whether they're upheld or not, what God is most of all interested in is us loving each other unconditionally, forgiving each other unconditionally, giving each other grace always, accepting and including people, even especially when they're different than us. So whether or not your candidate or mine wins or loses, God wants that type of interaction, relationships from us and from everyone, loving relationships. One day, in the life after, there'll be no sin, no crime, no hate, no judging, no prejudice, no slander, no backbiting, no political parties, no hurts, no broken relationships. Everyone will know God and be known by him. Everyone will know and be known by each other. We will love and be loved by each other. We're already loved by God. That day, in that time, we will all serve and be served. We'll celebrate and be celebrated. We won't have any concerns about government whatsoever. Now, today we call that heaven. And you know, God's will is for each of us to live each day on earth like it is in heaven. And as we listen to him and get to know him better and better, and let Jesus Christ in us live his life through us and as us, we will literally experience more and more of heaven here on earth. That's what God is all about. That's what we can do today when we live like that today, things go better not only for us, but for the other people that we're with. So while God's grace has done everything for us, what we can now do is live like he wants us to, which means live in loving relationships with each other. And that's letting Jesus do that as us because he lives in us. Hope this has been helpful to you. See you next time. Bye-bye.